Welcome to this episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. I'm Aric.
And I'm Angie.
We are married with a ton of kids.
We have 6 kids total. He has 3 and I have 3.
My name's Hallie and I love riding horses.
My name's Lexi and I've always been the most responsible.
My name's Carter and I like picking on my siblings.
My name's Chase and I love a clean truck.
My name's Summer and I still like to spend my parents' money.
My name's Dane and I love baseball.
And around here, we talk about the real stuff. Parenting, marriage, faith.
Along with grief, growth, second chances, and blended family life.
And all the in-between moments that don't make it to Instagram.
Our podcast is for the couples figuring it out, the parents trying their best, and the ones holding faith and heartbreak in the same hand.
Look, we don't have it all together.
Not even close.
But we do have honesty.
And a whole lot of grace.
This is Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. And if you're anything like Angie and myself, we just love to fly by the seat of our pants and never know what's going to happen next. The surprise is the thrill of life. Or not. That's never how. Sometimes we crave certainty and control. At least sometimes we do. I could say that I do. I prefer to know what's going to happen. I have a lot of routines that I follow in life, and I know that that is because it gives me a sense of security, whether that's factual or not. Mm-hmm. Today, we're going to talk about the myth of certainty and why many of us crave it and why it doesn't actually exist.
I mean, I'm sure we've all thought this. Like, well, if I just knew it was going to happen, then I'd be okay with it. I just want to know.
Every day. Sorry. Anyway.
If I knew that Phoenix would behave when I would ride her, then I would be okay.
Okay.
Before we dive into this topic, this morning was a little funny.
For some of us, I have gotten to where I love going to the barn and getting on Phoenix and riding this horse that Hallie had picked out. It's like this therapeutic time where I feel close and connected to Hallie and I enjoy it. And I've been going by myself, but this morning we could both go. And so Angie and I went. So then it's kind of like a fun little date. And I was excited about the time on the horse so I could feel connected to Hallie. I was also, I think, subconsciously in my mind thinking I'm going to be able to show off to my wife a little bit today because this has been going really good. And even out of the gate, I think you missed it because you were talking to the girl we met today. Teddy initially was like, God, your stance when you stand is really good. You're doing so like the first couple minutes, everything's fine. And so, then our horse
will teach you to be comfortable being uncomfortable or embracing uncertainty because, well, let's back up a little bit. We've been in this stage right now where it's like we're trying to figure out what Phoenix's future looks like because she's 3 years old. She's kind of at this age.
They call her a three-nager.
Yes, where she needs a job. She needs a purpose. And right now it's just been lessons, really, and just teaching her the basics. And so we have this pivotal moment where it's like trying to decide if it was Hallie's horse, like she was here, Hallie was physically here, she would be wanting her to be a barrel horse. Hallie's not physically here and we're not barrel horse people. And so it's like, okay, do we take her down the path of what Hallie would have done with her, knowing that we would likely not ride her that much because once you have a barrel horse trained to go fast, it's maybe not as easy just to make her into a trail horse or just someone, leisurely ride. Or do we go down the path of her being a show horse like in ranch or
I don't even know the styles.
Yeah.
What we can do is this is our heart horse. Like when it comes to horses, you have like your heart horse that and this for Angie and I, because it's the horse that Hallie bred. This is the horse that we love. And so we don't know what to do, but we pray about it often. And will we make the right choice? God, please just show us the right thing.
So in my mind, I've always been this way in a lot of aspects. When you have a path to go down, you're trying to make a choice. Sometimes you just sort of have to just let go and let it unfold in front of you.
Let go and let God, as they say.
Yes. And so it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to put this out there. into the universe, trust God, and the right person will come along that will help make that decision if we go down the barrel route or the show route. In my mind, I'm thinking show route is what's better for us, but also knowing that we don't have the time and to spend us actually doing the showing. So you need a young girl to come along and really connect with Phoenix. And I also, in my mind, am so passionate about young girls that love horses, but also that could use our help in that connection and maybe don't have the opportunities in front of them like Hallie had. And so today, unexpectedly, you set up the lesson and I was able to go out there and join you. Then our trainer was like, hey, there's a girl here that's been riding for a long time that, doesn't have an opportunity to have her own horse. And she started riding Phoenix in the last week or two for her because she was traveling, and they have just like really connected. Like she's done so well on Phoenix, and with Phoenix being a three-nager.
Well, before I got on today, we had this girl get on to just kind of get Phoenix loose, and it was the best I've ever seen Phoenix ride for anyone, even our trainer. And I said that to our trainer. She's like, oh no, I think so. She seems to have really taken to this young girl, and she behaves so well.
Yeah.
So
we led into that where we chatted with her. It was so great to meet her and then be able to watch her ride Phoenix and like see, even for us who are not horse people, see the difference in how she's riding with this young girl versus even with the trainer. And so anyway, say all that. That's a great example of embracing uncertainty and just sort of letting things go a little bit and trusting God that the right person will come along. Well, here's the funny part. Then Aric, who wants to be all that and
no, I enjoy the time, and it's been going so well with our horse. Today, that was not the case. She three-nagered up on me.
Oh my gosh.
She basically just gave me the double bird all day on the ride. Didn't want to do what I was telling her to do. I'm not an experienced rider, so it was somewhat my fault. Once she wasn't doing the right things, and I was getting frustrated and not being able to get her to do the right things. He
was frustrated. I'm dying on the inside because there was a couple of times where he'd come around with her and I'm standing by the fence and she would run Aric into the fence. It's like
she's never done that before.
Several times. Oh my gosh. Uncertainty, right? You have to embrace it. So it's worth diving into and talking about that today because I think we all struggle with it. I'm like that in a lot of ways of like, okay, trust the universe, trust God. But then there's times where in certain other areas, I want certainty. I want to command and control. I want to make things happen. And a lot of times that is such a confliction. Name the topic. It could be wanting, a certain outcome from a relationship. It could be a certain job. It could be wanting to control the experience for your kids and protect them from being hurt. It could be wanting to try to find this path to allow grief to be lighter, knowing that at the end of the day, like those are things that you cannot control. And so I feel like we spend this time chasing this certainty and it's not there. Like you'll never reach it.
Yeah, a lot of times then it becomes controlling. That's typically, I feel like, becomes me trying to control a situation that steals my peace and brings this like tension to my life that I don't need. And it's not like I'm doing it intentionally. And I'm sure if you're listening and you're relating to this, you feel the same way. You're not intentionally doing it. It's just something in your life previously has hurt you. And you have this fear that if you can't control a scenario, that you're going to get hurt again. So you try to control it, letting God work in it and through it, and just trust in the uncertainty, which is hard.
Like if you were going to 1 out of 10, 10 being like worst kind of control of trying to have certainty, where would you rank yourself on your struggle with that 1 out of 10?
Where would you rank yourself?
I ask you first and I will answer. You should have came up with a question.
I mean, like mostly an 8-ish.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'm a 2.
Huh.
If you would have asked me that before Hallie died, I would have probably said a 6 or 7. But I'm kind of a 2. Like, okay.
Well, I think there's just this illusion of uncertainty that we all go through when we don't know what's going to happen next. And so recently you came across this prayer that I actually thought was really good.
Yeah.
It could be really helpful for some people.
Yeah. We talk about prayer life a lot here. And, I've said so many times, like, I don't even know what to pray for, because why ask for stuff if you're not in control? What if the prayer is just, I trust you, God, and you just sort of let go of it? And so I guess I'm not the only one that thinks that way, because I did run across this prayer, and it's called the I don't know prayer. And it's, God, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go from here, but you know. And it's just so much of like letting God be in command and control. He never promised an easy life. So we're all going to get hit hard at various seasons in our life. And I think we spend so much energy trying to like know things that aren't ours to know. And we've not talked about this particular topic, but like a few weeks ago, you were like so wired or tense, wound. I don't know what the word is. And I see it in you. Like I could tell, I could feel it, sense it. And I do think part of that, to your point earlier, like it's this intense responsibility that you want to command and control and do all the right things. And even in that scenario, like you gotta let go of it. You gotta
been working to let go of some of those things. It's always easier when people in around you are helping, right, with that as well, because we can't do it alone. But I do think that this prayer is good. And as Pastor Shay reminded me several years ago, and I try to remind myself of this in bad times, whether somebody gets a cancer diagnosis or a lost job, an uncertainty with an illness, is that God is in control of this situation. And that can bring peace. Like when we remind ourselves that God is always in control, that can bring peace, because it reminds us that this isn't all by chance. It's not all circumstantial. Like there's literally a God in the universe who's in control of the good and the bad. And the fact that he is in control of the bad lets us know that he has a plan. And I think that is a really good thing to be able to remember.
She wants certainty that we're okay while we're in here. Polly wanted to begin the podcast.
Yes, Polly we had the door shut. So we let Polly in because she just wanted some certainty that we were in here and okay.
She wanted to know that it was all okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so when we look at our lives, it's trying to have certainty. That's always an illusion, right? I mean, I don't think that's
No, nothing. Nothing comes with guarantees. What happens tomorrow, we have no idea. And I think we crave it. I feel like we crave certainty because we want to know that we're in control, and that feels safer than to surrender, because that's scary. That's so scary to just be able to like let go of it, because then that means you have to trust someone else. And I think for me, I mean, I used to think that I was in control. I've said this a million times. My first tattoo was create your own reality. I mean, I trusted myself more than I trusted anyone else. But that was before I had a strong faith, and that was before I lost Hallie. And you can ease into it, or you can just be absolutely shredded and forced to give up that control and to know that we all live in uncertainty, and there is no certainty. So I think people figure that out through various aspects of things that happen to them. But I think living in certainty and expecting that is such an enemy to you to be able to thrive if you're so focused on controlling. It's exhausting to try to feel like you're in control all the time.
Yeah, it requires that we have to trust in God, right? Because the uncertainty isn't actually the enemy. It's really, everything's exhausting because we can't trust God. We're not just giving things to him. And we'll use a real life example that many of you can probably relate to. And that is just earlier this week, Dane turned 16. So now all of the kids are drivers. And you think about that when you send your first kid off driving, like you've done the work. Maybe they've met with the driver's ed instructor. Maybe you feel like they've got plenty of hours behind the wheel, but there is that uncertainty that comes with that. because you can't control the rest of the drivers on the road. You can't control if your kid picks up their phone when they shouldn't, all of those different things. Tire blows out, whatever that may be. And so you can't control it, but you have to trust it. And if you spent every hour that your child was driving worried and freaking out, you would make yourself insane, really.
Right. Well, that's a great example because you spend so much time with them, riding with them for a year, building that certainty that they know how to drive. You can control it a little bit because you're sitting in the car with them. You're saying, hey, no, you've got to turn your blinker on now, or watch out for that car, or get off your phone, or, focus over here. You are sort of building that certainty that your child knows how to drive. But then you start back over the minute they get in that car by themselves because you have lost all control. All control. And so that's a great example of letting go, because obviously you need them to drive. They need that independence. They need to start making decisions on their own in a car by themselves. And they're going to make mistakes. We all have little wagers almost of like, okay, well, how long will it take before, X kid has an accident or messes up? Because they all do it. Like that is, you would know that for certain. They're going to.
Yeah, I had one of Dane's friends this week. His mom say, I just worry, but she goes, I'm sure you've had to do this way more than me. I just have the one. And I was like, yeah. I said, our 3 oldest all wrecked. Like Hallie backed into things 3 times. Lexi messed up her car, run into somebody. Carter totaled his car. I said, I feel really lucky right now, knock on wood, with the 3 younger ones, and hopefully that they continue to be safe. But it's part of it where you know there's going to be mishaps. You just pray that they're not bad ones.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you thought about it through the way of like, okay, if I prepared enough and taught the child enough to be able to drive, then they're not going to have any accidents. That's like expecting certainty versus the uncertainty and being able to accept that, like, I mean, there's going to be a wreck or a mistake made type of thing. I mean, that's based on like experience and just embracing the uncertainty.
I feel like, and I think you probably would agree, like after like losing Hallie, the grief is different. It's led to a difference in how we view this certainty versus uncertainty.
1,000%. 1,000%, because before Hallie died, I just assumed and thought and believed that if I did all the right things, if I loved my family, if I worked hard, if I was a good person, all of those things, taught the right lessons to my kids, taught them to fly, like all of that, nothing bad would happen to me. Like my kids would be protected. And my God, I mean, I look back and I think, how naive were you to think that somehow nothing bad would ever happen to your family. And, and then that one phone call just shattered that. And now that's been a whole process to go through such horror and then come to a point of sort of acceptance of the uncertainty. I mean, it's acceptance of a million things, but of knowing that tomorrow's not promised, of knowing how to prioritize stuff. I mean, I'll give you an example. Just the other night, super tired, exhausted, didn't get a workout in, had other, kind of mapped out in my head that evening. And then Chase came home and Carter was there and Dane and all these 3 boys in the kitchen for like an hour. And everything that I thought I should do that night, I did not care at all. It was like, no, I'm not going to guilt myself for not getting a workout in or should have got on my laptop and knocked out a couple of tasks on my laptop. It's like, no, my value, my worth, my focus, my time, everything is these kids, because tomorrow is promised to no one. And I think that level of accepting and understanding uncertainty drives different behavior and how you focus your time and your energy and where you spend it.
I think, look at that though. Like that was uncertainty. We didn't expect all 3 of those boys to show up. That was an uncertain thing. And then that brought joy. So there's an example of uncertainty coming into our lives and bringing joy in that moment.
Yeah.
Which can happen if you let it. as you pointed out a few minutes ago, like you kind of felt like if you do the right things, I know I felt that way. Like first 25, 26 years of my life, I led a life that was very straight line. Didn't want to upset anyone, followed all the rules. And then when marriage falls apart, your dad dies young, like I all of a sudden think like, God is mad at me. What have I done? And so there's like a misunderstanding of faith sometimes. Sometimes people, I think, have read their Bible and misapplied some passages that say, if I have faith enough, these things won't happen. And that's not necessarily what God is saying, right? Faith isn't confidence that everything's going to work out exactly how we want. It's trusting God when we don't know how it's going to work out. Faith, that's what faith is. You hear that all the time. Faith is trusting God when we don't know what is going to happen. And it's trusting God when we've not seen him, right? That's one of the biggest mysteries of Christianity is, the original disciples, they saw Jesus and they saw him die and they saw him risen and they saw him go to heaven. But then for that message to spread for the last 2,000 plus years when we've not physically seen Jesus, that's real faith.
Yeah.
And so remembering that when we're struggling with uncertainty versus certainty of all the things.
If you had certainty, you wouldn't need faith. I mean, I think that's the message in all of this is that faith only exists in the uncertainty. And I think that's how my faith has grown, is in that uncertainty, in that acceptance of what life here really is. And it's kind of like that space between where you are right now and like where you want to be. There's a huge gap in that. And that's where uncertainty lives. It's where you're praying for something and waiting for an answer. Uncertainty lives in between those two. And that's faith. It's the diagnosis and the healing, the gap between that. That's where your faith matters. It's where, you have heartbreak and restoration. We have one of our kiddos that got her heart broken. And there's this gap between when that happens and understanding that God is going to open up another door for you. And I try to remind my kids of that when they're ready to receive that, because you got to time it right. But it's like understanding that God's in control. He will open up the right doors for you, but you have to be patient in the waiting and trust him that things are happening for a reason. And I think for that particular example, a different door was open and it's a better door than what she could have even imagined. And that then also builds, I think, more trust. And then now you sort of get this momentum of like, I know the life's uncertain, but I'm also trusting when the doors shut, that extreme heartbreak and devastation, and when other doors open up.
I think there's a big difference between this topic about happiness and joy is that something I've learned over the last several years is that you can have joy, but not be happy. Like when you have Jesus, there's still joy and the heartbreak and the suffering. It just may not be happy all the time. And so maybe today, as we're talking about this, like the question is not really how do I become more certain, but it's can I trust God without certainty? And I know that's something that I can work on for sure, because what if even the peace didn't come? If I knew what was next, I'd probably still in my mind be working up like, oh, okay, it's going to be like that. But then what about this?
Yeah.
And so I don't think you even find peace when if you think you know what's going to happen next.
I'll give you another quick example. We did a podcast episode a while back on the Gabby Petito documentary and how triggering that was for us, because it was definitely like, oh my God, there's so many similarities. And right after that documentary aired and we watched it, I'm like, I want to connect to this mom. Like I thought it in my head, and you can still take action to try to get certainty, right? But there's a difference between taking action and also then trusting the uncertain. So I reach out to the foundation to connect with the mom right after that documentary and never heard anything back.
And that's been like 1.5 to 2 years probably.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
But also I'm trusting that, okay, I'm maybe not meant to connect with her, or it's not the right time. And so fast forward, I was asked to speak at the Little Black Dress event with True North. And as I'm prepping for that, I met with True North and sharing kind of like, what are some other areas that I could lean in and help support? Because I'm passionate about relationship red flags and domestic violence. And she goes, well, we partner with another family. Have you heard of the Gabby Petito family? Yes. I mean, she had no idea. She had no idea how much of an impact that documentary was, how much of a connection I felt with that mom without even knowing her. And she's like, well, I'll introduce you. It's God's timing. It's the right thing at the right time, but also being okay with uncertainty and the patience to know that if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. And so this week, Aric and I chatted with her.
Pretty cool.
And connected with her just like I imagined 2 years ago. It was such a great combo. And I don't know what the doors will open from that conversation, but I'm okay with that uncertainty. I'm okay with the waiting to see what God has in mind for our voices on a much bigger platform and alignment with exactly what we would want to do with Hallie's story as well. So just trying to share a little bit of kind of our journey with uncertainty, trying to embrace it more. I mean, I still like to control shit. Let's just be real. But
2 seem like a low number on our scale, but okay.
I've let go a lot. And I mean, again, like there's a balance. It doesn't mean there's a balance. It doesn't mean not taking action to try to drive outcomes. But I think it's also not letting it impact and take so much energy and stress. It's like, yes, I have goals I want to achieve, but I'm also okay with not knowing what will happen tomorrow. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, for sure. Because, everybody's carrying different problems.
Yeah.
And some of them are harder than others, for sure. So I think, again, like the prayer from earlier, if we kind of reflect back on that, is pretty important. You can kind of make it your own.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's trusting God. It's saying, hey, God, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know when. I don't know what's next. I don't know how this ends, but I'm trusting that you do and that you got me. And I'll take on and carry whatever you want me to carry. Just give me the strength to do it. Give me the strength.
Yeah. So certainty is not the goal. It's trusting God. It's building your faith in those moments. And sometimes that really powerful prayer is, I don't know, God, but you know, and really believing and trusting that with him.
Because we just, in the past, I know I have spent lots of time chasing certainty only to discover that peace is never found in having all the answers. It's really found in trusting God with the questions.
So true. So true. That's all we have for you this week. And so we appreciate you spending some time with us. I'm going to go try to not be as certain about, just let it be. I'm going to work on the let it be and see how I can do it this week. And I hope that you're able to do it as well, because God already knows and he's working in all of our lives, the good days and the bad. We hope that you have a wonderful week and God bless.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. Lexi and Hal, take it away.
I'm Lexi.
And I'm Hallie.
Have a great week.
Or have the week that you deserve.
That was perfect.
Yeah, God bless.